Welcome back to the S&T Football Show. We are talking about the NFC Conference Championship this week, Rams at the Seahawks. We've seen this game two times already this year. Both games were close. Rams got the best of them first, 21-19 in November, and then about a month ago, the Seahawks beat the Rams 38-37 in overtime. So, I mean, only a point differential of 3 points over the two games. And now we get to see the tiebreaker in the NFC Championship. Both teams played solid last week. Seahawks played really well last week, not just solid, but we'll see how this week turns out in the tiebreaker to go to the Super Bowl. Saison, take us away.
Great intro there, Tom. Yes, we have the NFC Championship this weekend in Seattle. The number one Seattle Seahawks are hosting after they basically embarrassed their division rivals, the San Francisco 49ers, last week, in a pretty bad beatdown. I forget what the score was, but it was not close at all. That game was pretty much over by the end of the third quarter. So Seahawks are riding high right now, looking like a really tough team to beat. On the other side, they have another division rival in the Los Angeles Rams who have made it to, I want to say, like their third NFC Championship game in the last decade, at least three. Because, they went to the Super Bowl against the Bengals. They went to the Super Bowl against the Patriots. I believe they might have made another NFC Championship game and lost that one. I don't know, 3 or 4 times now, but they're right back where they want to be and are looking like a really good, solid team as well. Obviously, at this point, the NFC West has declared themselves the best division in football, at least for this season. They are running the NFC. The last four teams have three NFC. The last four teams in the NFC had three NFC West teams inside of that four. So that's pretty dominant right there in the Seahawks, the Niners, and the Rams. Basically showing at the NFL just how good this division has been this year. Just so many wins collectively amongst those three teams. So it's going to come down to one, and one of them is going to represent in the Super Bowl. So, the NFC West will be represented in the Super Bowl no matter what happens. And really good to see that division kind of bounce back after having a couple rough years or whatnot. But it's going to be a really good game. I'm very excited for this. Matthew Stafford, this is like legacy cementing kind of game for him, right? Because he already has the ring, and goodness for that, because he had a long, hard time playing in Detroit, where he was basically balling out of his mind, but was flying under the radar because the Lions were just never good. He was the only thing keeping the Lions relevant for, I don't know, to at least 10 years, 15 years, something like that. He gets traded to the Rams, of course, for Jared Goff a few years back, and it's worked out perfectly for him. I mean, ever since then, he's basically been in the playoffs every single year since he got to the Rams. Like I said before, they won a Super Bowl now with Matthew Stafford. So, I mean, he couldn't have asked for much more, but here he is still in the race looking for his second on his way out. We all know that Matthew Stafford is closer to the end than he is to the beginning at this point. He's turning 40 this year. So, not many years left for him. So he definitely wants to get it done right here, right now. So very motivated on that side. And then besides that, just Sean McVay being one of the best coaches in the NFL still. He's been doing it for several years now and has been holding the Rams down. I mean, the Rams are very happy with him. I mean, I don't think I've even heard Sean McVay's name ever come up in any kind of coaching controversy or, anything about him maybe moving or getting fired or anything. No, his job is very stable over there in Los Angeles because he's just done such a fantastic job with the Rams ever since taking that defense is scary. Jared Verse out of Florida State last year, the rookie from last year, and now in his second year, he is just a nasty player. That defense is really, really good. On offense, just fireworks. Puka Nacua, the receiver, obviously is taking the NFL by storm. I still don't really understand why they got rid of Cooper Kupp. I feel like him and Cooper Kupp were a really good dynamic duo, but Devontae Adams has been a pretty good addition as well. So the Rams just have it all figured out over there. They know what they're doing, and that's why they are always going deep in the playoffs year after year. On the other side, the Seahawks, kind of a surprise to see them. They're always a solid team, but after Pete Carroll left, they've kind of been, kind of that 8-8, 7-9, whatever type of record. So last year they barely missed the playoffs. I believe they went 9-8 or 8-9, whatever it was. But they put it together this year. I mean, I guess Sam Darnold was the final piece. It's still really surprising to see Sam Darnold doing so well because just anybody who's followed his career, coming out of USC, drafted in the top 10, first round, he had high expectations for the Jets. And then, of course, had some really bad, tough years with the Jets, seeing ghosts and all that stuff. Then goes over to the Panthers and just has that weird situation with him and Baker Mayfield for a year or two. And then he goes to the Vikings, and that's when it kind of turns around. So ever since then, he's kind of just figured something out. Just a light just switched on in there, and now he's playing like one of the better quarterbacks in the league right now. So just shows you the kind of story that Sam Darnold has gone through. And then going to a really solid organization like the Seahawks, I think that was a really good move for him. And they've kind of just put it together. So these two teams meet up again for the third time this year, as you alluded to. And my prediction for this game is it's going to come down to Sam Darnold, and I'm glad I touched on him because he is dealing with an injury right now, his oblique. He was dealing with it last game. You saw him over there kind of going through some pain here and there, but he managed to play, and he played well, and they got a huge win, obviously. But now he's kind of day-to-day, so we're going to see if he's going to play. Is he going to make it through the whole game? But this is the game of his life. This is the biggest game he's ever played. So if it were me, I'm going. If unless I physically can't throw the ball, I'm going to play. So I feel like he's kind of in that same mindset. And if he does play, I'm taking the Seahawks. If he doesn't play and Drew Lock ends up playing, I don't have a lot of faith in Drew Lock, and I would probably move over to the Rams. So it's going to come down to that, I think. But without much further ado, Tom, what do you think about this matchup? Give me your opinion on this one.
Yeah, I think the Rams probably, in my opinion, look like the more battle-tested team so far through the playoffs. They've only had close games, and the last time they played, the Seahawks got the best of them in overtime by 1 point. So I personally do like the Rams over the Seahawks this week, and like you said, if Sam Darnold doesn't play, I think it's almost a guaranteed win for the Rams, just because I mean, maybe the Seahawks defense can carry them and Drew Lock can put up enough points to keep it close. But I think the Rams are battle tested. Matthew Stafford has more experience in these kind of games. And I just think top to bottom on offense, the Rams are a better team. Now the Seahawks do have Jackson Smith and Jigba, which he's probably the best receiver in the league this year. So they do have that going for them. But like I said, I think the Rams are going to be able to really focus in on JSN, really lock him down. I mean, that would be number one game plan if I was the Rams on defense. I think if you take away JSN, Sam Darnold, they don't really have the best run game in the NFL. And I think the Rams have a pretty solid defense in general. So I personally just think through experience and being battle tested so far in the playoffs, unlike the Seahawks, or the Seahawks have just kind of coasted to this point, blowing out a beat up 49ers team. So I think Rams are more ready for this game. It will be in Seattle, which is obviously benefit to Seattle. That's arguably the loudest stadium in the NFL. So advantage there for the Seahawks, but I think overall the Rams probably have just more experience, been there, done that. They know what it takes, and this isn't going to be their first rodeo in Seattle. So give me the Rams. It might be a hot take, might be a controversial pick, just because I think everybody's just looking at what the Seahawks did to the 49ers last week, and they anticipate them to come out hot and just blow everybody out from here on out. But it's the NFL. Everybody's a professional. And in that case, I like Matthew Stafford and his experience. So give me the Rams over the Seahawks to make the Super Bowl. And yeah, other than that, do you have anything else?
I'm glad you touched on that. Yes, the Seahawks definitely have a really good home field advantage in Seattle. Like you said, one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL, in the world, really. And that place was rocking. against San Francisco last week. Like I could hear how loud it was through my screen. You know what I mean? So I could tell it was loud down there. That's how you know it's loud. Where you're like, oh, it's loud on this side. I'm not even there. You know what I mean? So, uh, the Seahawks were playing like really motivated. Like you could tell, like the crowd was behind them and they were feeling that energy. And the Niners, the poor Niners, they already had half of their team injured. Half of their team was already on IR or out, and then on top of that, they just got beat up from start to finish, and then the crowd was just bearing down on them the entire time. Just a tough situation for them, and I agree. Yes, the Rams will definitely handle it better. Will it be enough to come out on top? If the Seahawks play like they did last week, I don't think anybody has a chance. Really, you're going to have to slow them down on one side of the ball because they're just coming like relentlessly. So I think the Rams definitely will put up a better fight. I just think that maybe the advantages will swing Seattle's way. But like you said and like I said earlier, Sam Darnold is the factor. If he plays, Seattle's got a shot. If he doesn't play, that defense is going to have to carry them because Drew Lock, he's just not it. So